James. I'm joined by Superintendent John Fortney. Hi, John.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, this is a new initiative and a new show. We'll be coming to you once monthly with a brand new show, and it's called
The Cougar Chronicle.
Oh, isn't this great?
We joked about this kind of from the beginning when
Yes,
we first met.
I know.
And I'm so excited. What a great opportunity. And I appreciate you willingness to be part of this project.
Well, you know, it's easy. So Cougar Chronicle is because we are
The Kearsarge Cougars. So it is our
Cougars.
mascot.
Right, and we're representing the Kearsarge School District and really kind of lifting that veil, right?
Yeah, a lot of it, and what a great opportunity for us to really highlight. I mean, we have social media and we have emails and calls and a lot of ways to communicate out, but sometimes I can't tell the story as well as people that we bring in from our district. And as I've traveled through the district and continue to do so and build these great relationships with folks, it is so exciting. I meet all these great people that I want to hear their stories. And when we had talked, it's like, is there a better way to try to highlight those things?
Oh, we were coming up with podcasts, with, you name it, you name it. We're going to be, everywhere with this, right? But the thing is, we both are connected, with the district, as everyone here in Kearsarge is, and we believe in it.
Oh, right? Without a doubt. I absolutely am in absolute love with this district. And these 7 communities are just as diverse and robust as they are. But they are incredible. What an amazing place to live.
And when you walked in and we did our first interview, because that's what we do, as you know, we talk to new folks in town, and you had been around for 8 months at that point, so you weren't exactly new, But now you have started as a superintendent. We thought, what better way to get the word out, right?
Yeah. So it's an opportunity for us, again, really to kind of demonstrate all the great things and highlight a lot of the great stuff that is happening within the district. And quite honestly, to try to improve the transparency of what we have going on here. And as a lot of great intentions, and sometimes things fall flat. And I also thought it would be another opportunity for us when we do make our mistakes, as we will. How do we really take ownership of those things and then let the community know, here's what happened, and here's what our plan is to try to correct things.
And it's going to have a bunch of elements, right?
Yes.
We're going to be interviewing people live and talking to guests and folks who are making a difference in the district. But we're also going to be talking about some of those issues that might be a little difficult.
Well, we've got, there are things coming up. Right now we're finishing up the first round of our budgeting season, which is always important because it's that time period people are looking at their tax bills. The district and the school board is negotiating the next round of the collective bargaining agreement with KREA, who will be one of our guests today.
Yes.
And transparently, we've started new transportation. We had new start and end times with the schools, and there's been some struggles with some of these things. And so, an opportunity for us to potentially address some of the communication around those items, and really kind of dig in and talk about that stuff. Again, it really is. This is the community's school district, and so if that's going to be the case, then we really need to make sure that we're paying homage and giving due diligence to letting people understand where their tax dollars, where their love, where their effort is going to, and how it's being utilized.
So speaking of community, we're going to be looking for your input, and we're calling that segment Ask the Superintendent. That's really original.
My creativity is limited to what little dad jokes I can tell as a grandfather. So we have things like that. But again, people are going to have questions, and the old teachers in us, we know this, that if one person has a question, there's a good chance that other people have the same question.
That's right.
And so a chance for folks to again, not to make this just the bald talking head, but really but people being able to interact and drive a lot of things that are going on. As we talk about the importance of community involvement and engagement with school board meetings or within the school and different departments and athletics and whatever the case may be, we need to make sure that we're providing an avenue for folks to be able to get their questions answered.
It's true. And the traditional ways, right? You can go on the website and we'll have all this information running for you. You can send emails. But this is a chance to have John, Superintendent Fortney, answer those questions.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah,
and of course, we'll make the joke. We make sure they're school appropriate.
That's right.
Because we have to, we have to check that box. But really, it's if there are things about operations or planning, if we have the ability, there may be questions that get asked that, transparently, we may not legally be able to provide answers to. But as we look at the idea of general operations within the district, or we're visioning, or where are we headed on certain projects, what a great chance for us to answer those questions.
Wonderful. And I had to tell you, I'm so excited about the aspect of involving the students.
Yeah.
We have students who are going to be doing our graphics, our music, our artwork, and we'll be getting into the schools.
Yes.
That's the best.
Well, again, it's highlighting all the great things. There's more things that are happening in our district than the community could ever possibly understand on any given day. And so really, this is nothing more than just a real small slice of all the great stuff. But again, it's trying to push those things out. I mean, YCN has done such a great job of highlighting the amount of items that we do, and thankful for that partnership with them. And if for folks that may not have the time or the ability to get to see some of the great things, at least we can try to provide some of the highlights for a reason that we talk about Cougar Pride. And here's why it's valuable, and here's why it's important.
That's right. You know, and so many of us, I mean, watching, and our parents or grandparents of children who come through the schools, and this is just such a joy to be able to do this. You know, and I think, you know, I was going to ask you about the whys and whys. I think that's what we're talking about. Yeah. Why is this important? Exactly. And I think the input's going to be very valuable, not just on questions for you, but people they'd like to see interviewed.
Well, and I think that would be a great opportunity as well. Where can we dig in? You know, we have an idea of what we want to try to highlight because we see those kind of things. But when we get into certain time periods, I think there's going to be an opportunity, you know, with budgeting time, or if we have, you know, why are we spending money in facilities, and having those kind of guests in to answer some of those questions, and really looking at you don't realize how big the district is. If you live here, you kind of have an understanding of the town, but when you look at the actual infrastructure and all the things that it takes just to keep a district running so that way we can do great things for kids, there's so many opportunities and so many great stories that are going to be told.
It's true, exactly. And you know, it's funny because you can't help but, as we all do, say, oh, well, that's the new middle school. It's not new anymore.
No.
Right, it's not
it's
new.
It's almost 26
yes, exactly.
years old. I mean,
and
it's been around for a while.
Right. Those of us who are on the committee saying we need that new middle school, well, it's not new. Yeah. So we need to find out about what's being done to maintain the structures and maintain everything, and not just the, you know, and there's a lot of nitty gritty.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on, and then there's also a history of things. Like right now, the district had commissioned a long facility study that's going to go through the entire district, and there are going to be recommendations as we try to look, and that ultimately may wind up on a warrant article that we're going to ask the taxpayers to try to help support, and so we have to be transparent on what we're doing and why.
And you know, it's not just going to the deliberative session or showing up at a school board meeting, right? You really have to be informed. And the big question I get is, my kids have graduated. My kids aren't in this district. Why should I care? Well, because it's a big chunky of tax dollars, right? And you can have input on it. And most importantly, they're our future. All these little ones in the schools, they are our future.
Well, and I think that, you know, we talk about whether where I'm coming from, Missouri, or here now that I live in New Hampshire, the value of the schools improve the value of a community. They truly do. You know, if you don't have schools, fast food places don't have workers. If you don't have, I mean, who's looking after different people? And again, it's this idea, this society is built around the idea of perpetuity. We've got to keep things moving forward. We've got such phenomenal kids that live within this district and the families. And again, we want folks wanting to move within the district, to be part of this community, and to be part of this just great, wonderful community that loves and looks after kids.
We tend to be very similar. We're very happy. We're very joyous about being here. So it really is. So our new show, the Cougar Chronicle.
We know one of the things is we know the stories from the school district.
Absolutely, all about Kearsarge, right?
100%.
Yeah, so this is going to be great, and it's going to be airing the first Thursday of every month.
Yes.
And then it'll be online. It'll be on, you know, everywhere you see YCN and Kearsarge Chronicle, you'll be able to see this show. Yeah, and also on our website, right? And
yes, be pushed out through that, and then also the district will be able to highlight this thing through our own social media, and making sure that we try to get as many people to be able to engage with something like this.
Absolutely.
I think it's so exciting. They're going to be. I can't wait to get our interviewer, our guests in, and then, you know, maybe at some time we'll be able to get kids in, because those are the fun things that you get to send to grandma that lives in California.
Absolutely.
Is, hey, I was on TV.
Yeah, right. Just copy that link and send it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, well, you know, we're so grateful that you agreed to do this, because to me, the school and the school district is the center of the community.
Well, I just appreciate just your friendship and just your willingness to do it also. And
Aren't we
I
just
think
the
it's
happiest folks?
Well, you know, you want, if you're going to do something, you want to make
Right,
sure you're enjoying doing it
exactly.
and who you're doing it with.
Right, right.
So.
And your enthusiasm is really, filtering down into the district. So we'll let that message get out to you. If you have questions, we're going to be telling you how you can ask the superintendent. Give
Yes.
us suggestions on, you ready to say it together? The Cougar Chronicle.
There
Got
we go.
it.
We'll work
Okay.
on that part.
Stay with us. Members of the KREA are coming up. Well, welcome back to Cougar Chronicles. How cool is this?
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's our very first show, and we're so happy to be here, aren't we?
I'm still just absolutely blown away by how quickly we were able to get something like this put together. And just from the first meeting with the opportunity to spend a little time with each other, and just the connection and to have this in place, it's a dream come true.
And our very first guest today.
I know.
It's so wonderful. As soon as, now it's gonna take a while to get used to calling you John instead of Superintendent Portney.
That's fine.
But as soon as John, so you said I have the perfect first guests.
I couldn't be more excited to introduce. So I've got Ian Feller and Beth Perkins that are both members of our elementary school, but more importantly, they are the co-presidents of the KREA.
Exactly, and as you know, full disclosure, I had taught here for a number of years. But can you tell us, please, what does KREA stand for? Either one can take the question.
Well, we're the Kearsarge Regional Education Association. So we're part of NEA New Hampshire and NEA nationally, which is the National Education Association. And we're all about promoting great public schools. We're all about making sure that every child, no matter who they are, where they live, what their needs are, has as wonderful an education experience as the children here at Kearsarge do, and as I did growing up, and we all did growing up.
So just to frame this a little bit, right? So we're a public school, as we know, and the union, NEA is the umbrella national organization, and KREA is our local organization.
That's exactly right.
So it's the union, as people refer to. Is that correct, Ian?
Yeah, it's a collection of the educators in the Kearsarge region, so from all 7 schools that we have, or 6 schools that we have from 7 towns. We work closely with the administration, the superintendent. We meet once a month to go over issues or partner together to make the education better. We go to the school board meetings to share information and just partner with the community to make sure that we're doing the best we can for our students.
And is that key, John, working together?
Well, when you look at the importance of a group like this, I mean, that collective voice, and one of the things that we've talked about that was really kind of a hallmark for me is the idea of trying to build that voice. And so to have something like this that's been pre-established is so important because, again, they're in the classrooms, they're on the grounds, they're the ones that are in direct contact with our students every day. And so to have that kind of connection and that relationship is so important. Wouldn't you agree that we have to be able to have those kind of conversations? And needless to say, and shockingly to a lot of people, we don't do everything perfect from an administrative standpoint. And so a place of accountability, as we try to push through things, they are also the keepers of the flame and the faith and really make sure that we're towing the same line that we expect everybody to have.
So it's the old checks and balances, right, Beth? Everyone's watching everybody.
I teach U.S. government to my 5th graders, and we're talking about the founding principles of the country. And it's a lot about joining together and sharing responsibility. E pluribus unum is an expression that we're studying right now out of many one. And we're also studying topics like justice, which is big for KREA and NEA. What a brilliant idea America had to make sure every child could have public education. And when we band together and work together to make sure everybody has that opportunity, we can succeed and bring about the dreams that the founders had for this country.
Can you go a little deeper into the idea of justice in education and how you help to reinforce that concept?
You and I have been doing this a long time, Laura, and we always were excellent, but I think that now more than ever, the focus is on making sure that every single child is meeting their potential and having all the opportunities they can have. I have more resources for me now than I did when I was starting out 40 years ago. And that
40
means
years ago. That's
that,
a long time.
that means
Thank you.
that
Beth.
we're reaching every child and making sure every child has the opportunity to succeed, can choose from among all the options that they have. And that's justice, where everybody gets the opportunity.
Regardless of your socioeconomic background, your ethnicity, who you are, where you live.
That's exactly
Equal
right.
access for all.
You're receiving, okay.
That's right.
quality
And that,
education.
more than anything else, is what NEA and KREA stand for. And it's a big organization, a school district, right? There's a lot of people in a school district, and it really pays to look at what we're trying to do through many different lenses, right? We want to make sure that we're looking at what we're doing through the lens of the children, first and foremost, but also through the lens of their families and the lens of the educators who are working so hard to help everybody, and the administrators who are making it work.
Now, Ian, during COVID, that lens got very blurry, didn't it? It changed the whole pair of glasses. And how did the union KREA react? I mean, that must have been just a challenge.
I mean, it was certainly a challenge. It changed the way education was almost instantly. So it was just supporting the staff, the students, to make sure that it was equitable for everybody who was going to be receiving the education. It was equitable for the people who were going to be providing the education. So it was helping us work with administration to create something that will be beneficial for the whole community.
That's right. Now, John, as you know, you're the superintendent.
Yes.
And in the years that we've been here, the relationship between the superintendent's office, the administration, the leadership team, and KREA has always been excellent. Good level of communication. Is that important, do you see, to the organization?
Well, and let's don't forget our school board. We have
Of
an
course.
incredible school board in Kearsarge, and we are lucky to have them, and we know it. So it's really a partnership among all the stakeholders, and so that means that we're all pulling for the same thing. We're
Right.
all heading in the same direction, and that is equity and justice and a welcoming, safe, happy place to be for all the children in our district.
And with students at the center?
100%. I mean, we talked about this, I think, a number of times, and this group embodies the idea that our job is to educate kids.
Right.
And then our roles revolve as we go through things. And especially, we're in a time period where we know it's tough. It's getting tougher and tougher to find teachers.
That's right.
It's hard. You have more and more empty chairs, and we're filling it with fewer and fewer new faces. Would love for you guys to kind of talk about why is teaching a great profession?
It's great to be with the children. That's what I really enjoy, the relationships with the kids, sharing my love of sports with the kids. It's a great way to give back to the community, be part of the community in general. I love to see the kids in the morning. I love to meet the families. That's why I do it.
So, Ian, when you're not representing the union at meetings or negotiations, what's your job here in the district?
I teach PE at 2 elementary schools, Sutton and New London.
Perfect.
When I was a child, my mom was a teacher. A lot of us have parents and people who were teachers, and I always wanted to be a teacher from the time I was little. I would go to school, which I loved. I would come home and play school.
Oh, I love it.
And then my dream was always to be a teacher. I love everything about school, and I never wanted to leave it. And it is a consuming profession. You give so much to that day. It's a very intense day.
It's tiring.
It's exhausting, it's rewarding, and I think we need to invest now in making sure that it's sustainable. We want to attract the very best people to the profession, and we want to be able to keep them. So we want to make sure that we're doing the best we can to make there be enough of a balance between your work life and your home life so that we can attract those new faces we want and we can keep them when we've got them.
When you think of it, you always think of the teachers who influenced you when you were young,
Oh my gosh.
don't you? And so this is so important, to keep this organization relationship going. What do you do on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? When I went to the last school board meeting, I saw a representative sitting there, right? And so that's one of the aspects of the KREA?
That's exactly right. Catherine Heisen and I share. We take your seat that you held so well, and we share the great things that are happening in the district. We get to be informed about what the school board is working on and what the plans are for the district. We've just been through the budget process and gotten to know about that. we can weigh in if they need the perspective of the educators, and then we can keep our membership informed about where the district is going. We love to have the public there. They can Zoom in, they can be in the room. That's a wonderful way.
Very important, right, John? School board meetings, everyone can attend, whether you are attending in person
or via Zoom.
or
And
via
you
Zoom.
can go to our website to get the link, because we post the agenda well ahead advance, and the link is there. And so that we want people to engage. I mean, obviously the best thing is to be there live, because nothing's more exciting on a Thursday night than the school board meetings.
I enjoy them. I really do. I really enjoy because there's so many good things going
Yes,
on.
I tell you why. The reason it's true is because we are all pulling together. It could be otherwise.
No,
if it were
it is
rancorous
wonderful.
or unfortunate, we would
Yeah.
drag yourself there.
Yeah.
But it is fun to know
No,
what's coming up.
and it's so important to get the community engagement, because again, the school board, it makes decisions influenced by Carrier, influenced by administrative data, influenced by different,
Student
people,
and
and we have student voice.
family input.
But the biggest thing is we want our community to have such a voice and to be involved in it. Again, the partnership doesn't begin at the schoolhouse door. It begins in the front of somebody's house when we're picking those kids up and being part of those families. And it's so exciting. It's such a vast difference. Not that we didn't have a level of community involvement where I came from Missouri, but what we have here is so special and so powerful and energetic. I mean,
It feels good.
it really is just, and people are getting to understand, which again is the whole point of having a show like the Cougar Chronicle, where we can really highlight these wonderful relationships. I mean, we're right now, transparently, we're in the middle of contract negotiations for the next round with KREA, and they're passionate and they're powerful. But at the end of the day, both sides of the table, I think, fully understand we're here for the kids.
John and Ian, I guess I'll address this to Ian. Does it make it easier to have that relationship? So when you're sitting down for negotiations, saying it's important for us to, recruit and retain really good teachers, and to do that we need X, Y, and Z. Is that easier to do because you have a relationship?
I would say so. Like I said before, we're trying to partner together, so we're partnering with the school board, with the superintendent, with the community to do what is best for the district. So it does make it an easier discussion, negotiation. That's what you want. It's not one versus one. It should be together, creating the best thing for both that will benefit the students.
We were speaking before about, what we're going to talk about in the interview. That's the message I heard from both of you, unity. And
That's right.
working together on behalf of kids.
That's right. And we want to remember how supportive the community is of our district, the families and the community at large. They love us. Here we are in this town. We're right in the center of town, and we're a really important part of the community every day. But no matter where the schools are, the families and the community are so supportive of the education of our children. Whether you have a child in the district or not, everybody knows that's the future. And Ian and I get to see the future, and we know it's looking great.
It is looking great, isn't it?
These
Yeah.
kids
I
are
love
more
that.
open-minded, open-hearted than any generation before.
So awesome.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
And we're able to reassure people the future is in great hands. We
And
get
let
to
me
see it
tell you,
from the beginning.
we have this many towns, right? And we're all one district, and that's an incredible accomplishment. Before we go, we have a minute or two left. What's the message you'd like to give about KREA and about our district? Again, either one.
Public schools, it's the way.
Yeah, they rock.
It's the way that we get engaged, informed citizens who are going to lead us into the future. That's what I had, that's what my children had, and someday when I'm a grandparent, Laura James, I want to be
My grandparent recently, so waiting to bring that up. But no, it's true. It is true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Informed, involved citizens.
Yes.
What do you think, Ian? You agree with that?
I agree.
Who are athletic and
I'm here for all the
active.
sports.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
No,
right.
it's just such a great partnership. Thank you guys so much for being here, for
are
being our
honored
first
to have
guest
been
on
here.
the show, on the inaugural
exciting.
Cougar Chronicle. So exciting to open up with that, and just being able to highlight the value of public education and really the the great work that you both do, both individually and as co-presidents of KREA. So thank you so much for being here.
This has been such a joy. And coming up on Cougar Chronicles, we have 2 new guests.
Oh, very excited. We're bringing in Taylor Lipinski, our new athletic director, and Molly McDougall, who is not unfamiliar with the district, but is in a new role as our associate athletic director.
That's awesome. Stay with us. We'll be back. Welcome back to, what's the name of the show?
The Cougar Chronicle.
The Cougar Chronicle. Seriously, we're so happy to have you here. It's our very first show.
Yes, and there's so much. It was like Christmas last night. It feels, you couldn't sleep, so excited. What am I going to wear? Is my hair going to look right? Just having these all important kind of things I want to do. But I'm so
going to be a long show.
Here.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
Well, we're so glad you joined us. Seriously, and we have 2 awesome guests today.
Oh my gosh, another great setup. Mr. Taylor Lipinski, our new athletic director, and Ms. Molly McDougall is our new associate athletic director. Taylor is new to the district, as am I. Molly was a familiar face.
Yes.
You've seen her on the sidelines as our athletic trainer, and we conned her or talked her or Jedi mind tricked her into stepping into this new role. And I will tell you that I've been, as a former coach, both at the high school, the college, and the professional level, seen a lot of great administrators. I am massively impressed with these folks, and I know you're going to be too, and I am so excited to highlight the work they're doing.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're both here. And Molly, you're not new to me. Someone heard you were coming on the show, and she called me and said, oh my gosh, you have no idea what Molly did for my son and how she supported all the athletes, and it's just so wonderful to have you both.
Thank you guys for having us. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So the athletic director is called the AD,
Yeah.
right? Oftentimes. That's a big job here at Kearsarge.
I would say depends how you look at it. I'm surrounded by a lot of people that really make my job much more simple than it needs to be. I think just surrounding myself with either the coaches or the athletes, they really highlight the best that we have within the community and the different things that they do.
And before we get started, can we talk a little bit about your background? Because I think a lot of folks don't know that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So I started out in education. I was a teacher, a wellness teacher for 4 years, teaching out in Rhode Island, California, and Connecticut. And Connecticut's kind of my home base where my family is, so it's about 2.5 hours from the district.
You're a New England guy?
I'm a New England guy,
Yeah.
born and bred, and made my way back. And it's nice to be able to set up and kind of have my own roots elsewhere in New England, close enough to family to where I could reach out at any point in time and they'd be there, and then close enough if they needed me, I could be there as well. But last few years, I worked at Little League International as the assistant regional director of the East region. It's a really interesting job to be able to describe and kind of working with a volunteer-based organization, and then working to create what would end up being the regional and World Series tournaments down in Williamsport.
Those are huge.
Oh, it's fantastic.
They're so
it's
fun.
about
Yeah.
30, 40,000 people in a small little environment get to work with the MLB and creating the MLB Classic, seeing a bunch of kids just enjoying the passion that they really have in baseball, and being able to create that and make connections is really lifelong experiences and memories I'll be able to take away from it. So.
Translates well, doesn't it, John?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
Again, all
enthusiasm.
about relationships.
Right.
And all about those kind of connections.
Certainly.
And how do we put systems in place that really serve. You look at this, we talk about kids here, but when we talk about Little League World Series, we're talking about young people. And how do we really have a big impact
Make
on
those
that?
connections. Right, exactly.
Yeah, and transparently, I wanted to that I was still I was in that transition, so not officially the superintendent.
Right.
When they were doing the interviewing with Taylor, they asked if I wanted to be part of it. I'm like, again, trust you guys. You're going to do those things. And then when he got hired, Michael Bissett, our assistant superintendent, and Charles Langero, high school principal. I'm like, okay, who did you get? And they're like, you were going to love him. And
He was like jumping up and down telling me about you guys coming on the show today.
I was so
We
pumped.
appreciate it.
Just the team, just the team, and that's the
Yes.
thing is, I cannot stress this enough when we talk about this, and hopefully you two will agree. We've got some of the greatest adults, just not just professionals, but just caring, wonderful adults in the right places, taking care of our programs and our kids, and it's just. Again, I joke about, I'm Baloo and Tigger. If they had a baby, hello, you have your superintendent. But they're just amazing human beings, and that's what I love so much about this job.
very
Well,
true.
you know, and Molly, I was saying off camera that someone heard we were going to be talking today, and she was so excited because she said what you did for her family, and namely for her children, it was just so wonderful. So this is a new role for you, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big step. Not one that I had actually really considered until a lot of people in the community reached out and asked if I was applying for his job, which was not happening. But I figured I didn't have a say when it came to the assistant one. So
Right.
it's been a really fun step to take.
Learning curve for you guys?
100%. I think a big part of it, and the freedom that we've kind of been enabled to, and kind of granted with the transition, to be able to make it work between the high school and middle school. There's a learning curve for both of us. And a big part of that is the trust that we've been able to have working together. And then the trust that we have with the staff that we have in place too. But like I said.
So from a generalized standpoint, you know, we the old school, you hear athletic director, and obviously people go, well, what does that do? In a nutshell, what is your job? What does that encapsulate?
You have to wear a lot of hats on a day in, day out basis. And I think that's kind of what is the most intriguing part of the role. I think when you look at athletics, it's really the space that is most publicly viewed. You'll never see a parent in a classroom watching kids. You won't see really any other environment outside of maybe some of the other co-curriculars where the community has a visual representation of kind of what is going on. So in our role and how I look at it, trying to create an effective and comfortable and enjoyable environment for the community to be able to see and for the student athletes to be able to portray themselves in what is, in my eyes, kind of an art. And sports are a fascinating way for kids to be able to express themselves. I think there's very few environments where you have that passion to represent your community. And so my role, I just try to create as good of an environment for them to be able to do so successfully.
And represent, they do, because this,
100%.
you know, there's, you always go to football games and basketball games and swim meets. Whenever there's a sporting event, if I can get there, I do.
Yes.
And that's a huge responsibility,
No.
too, for the students, you know, for your department.
Certainly.
You know, what do you think, Molly? How does, is that a little scary, or?
It is. You know, it's one of the things that translated really well from my last position because it was just me covering all of those sports at the same time. So that's
Right.
the one thing that I haven't been as worried about or stressed about is that it's the usual schedule in athletics. You have to be there and support the kids, and that's what we're happy to do.
That's
And the
huge.
time commitment, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to attend a number of sporting events, and you can't go to an event and not see one of these faces,
Right.
if not both of them there.
Right.
And that's the piece that I think folks don't
It's huge.
realize is that it's more than just what happens from the start of the game to the end of the game. The infrastructure, the field setup, you know, making sure that the markers are on the field, that the field's chalked, that the buses have to go the right place. I mean, there's so many other things behind the scenes.
Safety issues,
that
the EMS
all of
personnel,
it,
it's
you know,
huge.
everything. And then, you know, is there electricity at the snack shack? And if not, what do we got to do about that? And do we need internet? Are the locker rooms clean? I mean, the job of it is so enormous and it's so important because without these behind the scenes folks, you know, nobody pays attention. No, everybody wants to eat the sausage, but not everybody really knows how the sausage is made.
Exactly.
And so
Or wants
to
to
have
know
those
how it's
folks that
made.
do those kind of
Exactly.
things, and it really just, and even in some of the longest, and I know that you guys have worked some long days because I've seen you at the end of some of that stuff, not without a smile,
Right.
with the enthusiasm, and again, it is all about the kids. And I think that's the thing that I appreciate so much about both of you, is you keep that first and foremost. And I would be remiss to say this, and from what I can tell, both of you have a lot of fun with each other along the way.
We certainly do. We certainly
Smile and
do.
laugh,
We
right?
need to.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, so it's November, and the season's underway. And what have you found with the students? Have there been any surprises? And I don't care about. I really don't. I care about who's winning, who's losing. Have the students surprised you in any way so far?
I think maybe a better question for me, because I'm new to the situation, I just think there's so much energy, and the community and the kids are fantastic, and I could highlight so many different athletes from so many different programs, but I wouldn't be doing the justice that it needs. I think as we're kind of pushing forward and these student athletes have so many different potential distractions, it's just a time and place in society where athletics really has such a pivotal role for most of them. I think they do a great job of highlighting each other, supporting each other, really doing the things that we care about as teammates, and doing so in a way that's effective. So I could pick and choose specific athletes to be able to highlight, but all the programs are doing a fantastic job to be able to support and promote our values on a daily basis.
Is it hard to teach students to support each other if you find they're not in any capacity? Is that a tough skill to teach, or is that something that's just innate?
I think as a coach, it's something that's always in the back of your mind, and it's kind of your moral compass as you're progressing through the season. You look at some of those lifelong skills that you're working to enact and create within the environment of sports, and it's difficult to kind of rein it in, and always you lose track at some points in the season from the competitive side of things. And even as a coach, I think about myself and reflecting my time as a coach, and I almost lost track. And then once you kind of center yourself again and then really focus on those values that are important to you and to the kids, it kind of makes everything else go away in a way.
We have a lot of different teams here. I mean, some that would surprise you. I mean, we have so many sports clubs and so many opportunities for students to get involved.
We could go into that too. I think going into the position, I even remember from my interview process, I talked about bass fishing. I knew nothing about what the sport would entail and the rules and things along
that's
those lines.
huge.
But that's a learning curve, and we figure it out as time goes on.
Mountain biking.
Yeah.
We didn't have any hills enough to have mountain biking in Missouri, so we come on here and we have a team.
Isn't that awesome?
You know,
Equestrian team. I mean, you know, we have
the
such
skiing, all of that.
It's so diverse.
We do.
It
And I
really
think the
is.
participation levels at both the secondary schools that we have are really unheard of. I would say over 50% at the high school and over 60%, I believe, at the middle school.
Isn't that
Really?
amazing?
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I would say with those numbers and the offerings that we have, you're hard pressed to see other schools within the states or even New England that really have similar numbers in regards to varsity sports that they offer. And again, any opportunity we have to take kids from the different distractions that they could be dealing with and the stuff that they go and deal with at home.
Sure.
It's so widespread across the community within Kearsarge. It's needed. And to be honest, that might be the highlight of their day, those 2 hours that they're away in that practice.
You know, I think we have about less than 2 minutes left, which is ridiculous because we could sit and talk to you all day about this.
Flew by,
But-
absolutely flew by.
But what do you think the message, what both of you, very quick, you know, a message you'd like to give to the students this year who are looking to or hoping to participate in a sport?
We just want them to come out and have fun with whatever they want to do. We're going to make all of those opportunities happen for them. So
Awesome.
come
I
on out.
love that. What do you think, Taylor?
I think the message is just be yourself out there. And you'll find different ways to connect and grow, whether it be with other student athletes or within the sport itself. But as she said, have fun out there. But we'll do our job to try to promote and push the different initiatives that we're promoting on a daily basis. And I think with the new mission and vision within athletics, it's a great time to be able to highlight different things. So just do what you've been doing.
I can see why you're jumping up and down.
I know.
Awesome.
It's because, again, you mentioned this earlier. They talked about relationships. They talked about values. They talked about experiences. They didn't talk about wins and losses because those things are going to be the final part of it. And so we're just so glad that you guys are here.
We appreciate that. We do.
You got that. You got me putting my hand on your arm
Yeah,
saying,
I-
okay, wrap it up,
Well, I
John,
know.
wrap it up.
I could talk about this group forever. I just am
I know,
so
I could
excited
too.
and proud.
You know, thank you so much for joining us.
We appreciate you having us on.
We'll see you, you know, on the field. We'll see you on the, you know, in the pool. We'll
You
see you,
will.
you name it. And I know you guys will be there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
today,
having us.
Taylor.
We
appreciate
that.
What a great interview, John.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being here and for what you do every day for our kids.
We appreciate
So
that.
glad. This is the
Cougar Chronicle.
And coming up,
We've got Assistant Superintendent Michael Bissett, who's going to be talking about our portrait of an educator. And I know a topic that just stresses you out. Talk about artificial intelligence in
gosh.
education.
oh gosh, okay, stay with us. We'll be back.
It'll be fine.
Welcome back to our show. It is our very first inaugural show. What's the name of it again?
The Cougar
The
Chronicle.
Cougar Chronicle. This
Yes.
is so exciting.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Every segment, every interview, every time we get to talk about those kind of things, again, just a great opportunity to highlight a lot of the great stuff that's going on and really try to put a focus on, in this case, for this interview, some of the things that we have that are going to impact the future of the
Absolutely.
school and really of education in general. But more just, can I just tell you this? It's so much fun just to be able to sit next to you and just have these great interview conversations.
It is fun. Well, you know, the enthusiasm is a good thing. And I know you'd be nothing without our next guest.
Oh.
Or it'd be no one, because the two of you are amazing together.
Well,
So I'll let you do the introduction.
So sitting to my left is Mr. Michael Bissett, Assistant Superintendent.
Who we all know and love.
And has been with the district for a number of years, and not without too much, but I have really been blessed to build a really strong professional relationship with this gentleman, and I don't think people fully understand the amount of work that happens out of his office, and it's kind of like when we talked about what the duties and responsibilities. There were times like, okay, so what am I going to be doing?
Right.
And so, as we kind of develop and get things going, and what a great opportunity to highlight some of the work that's taken place that really is starting to flesh itself out here. And one of those things that I wanted him to come in and talk about, first of all, thank you so much for being
Well,
here.
so glad you're here. Now, first of all, do you agree? Do you like this guy?
I do.
Okay, I just needed to know. I need to get that off. Yeah.
There. It's on camera now, so now I can't deny it.
He is downplaying it, though, and I think it's important to realize that the two people working together in this role is an absolute necessity. There are so many things we're asked to do in administration these days, that to have a partner and the ability to be able to divvy up the load, to check on the things that we need to do in order to bring effective practices to bear, we have to have.
And Michael, you've been doing this for years. You know, you are good at this job, and you know what you're doing. You know the district, you know the students, and you know the culture. And so we're so grateful for all the time you've put in. But now it's heightened, seeing the two of you together. You're like two peas in a pod.
We resonate. I think that's a good word for it.
We jokingly said that he's the yin to my yang. So it's like puzzle pieces. Because really, the piece of it is we really invested a lot of time from when I got named in November, really trying to kind of figure out what are our roles going to be within each other's lives professionally. And I think the biggest piece is that we have very, very similar beliefs in how things should be. School, in growth, in just a lot of different things. Sometimes not even our choice in food, those things differ, but we work through those things.
Whatever.
But at the end of the day, we have different styles on how we get those things done. But without saying that we are in pretty much lockstep on our decisions. And when we're not, we have built the capacity within each other to really have those discussions. So that way, when a decision does get made, there's no daylight between us. And it's not ego, it's not position, it's not title, it's success of the district,
And
period.
speaking of titles, you are the assistant superintendent, right? And so working together, assistant superintendent, and it sounds like you're dividing those duties and you're making it happen. Yeah,
that's a pretty effective decision. I mean, we look at the total load of things that need to be done. We talk about things all day long, and I think we spent more miles in a vehicle together this year than I have in my whole professional career
Isn't that
going back and
amazing?
forth
Yeah.
together. So it's been fantastic.
Well, first day of school, it did my heart. So it was so warming to my heart to see you both together in the schools, visiting every single school on opening day.
Yeah.
It was wonderful,
Got to all
those
of them.
pictures.
And it was just an absolute blast. And that was, as we talked, there's so many things that we have to do, so many responsibilities that we both have, that for me, traditionally, that was the one gift that I always gave myself, was the first day of school. I don't do meetings unless they're emergencies. It is all about just reminding ourselves why we spend the long hours in the summertime, why we do 4 nights a week with meetings and things like that. Sometimes you have to deal with the angry phone calls and all that. But when you see kids getting on and off a bus, when you see the new backpack, or the kid has the new haircut, and that kind of stuff, it just makes it all worthwhile.
It does, and I have to tell you, the first school board meeting I attended this year, there were some serious issues on the table.
Yes.
And seeing you both taking those issues seriously and working together to resolve them, and working on behalf of students and the community, I thought this is a happy team, but they're a serious team.
Well, we're partners, and that's the important piece. Is that whole thing it's us. And we are growing the us it started with the two of us, and then we grow into our administrative team, and we keep getting that whole thing together, that it's not, as I mentioned before, nobody's too good to dig a ditch. Later today, Michael's going to he's providing support for one of our principals, and it's going to be filling that principal role. And if I have my license, once I get on the roster and we'll drive a bus, it's whatever it takes to make sure that the needs of our staff is being met so that they can meet the needs of our students.
Okay, you two. So Halloween has just passed, and Halloween can be a little scary for children. It's a little scary for me, because let me tell you what I'm really afraid of. And I know I've been looking into it, I've been doing research, I know that learning can occur in really good ways. AI just scares me. It scares me.
Every time you bring that up, you get a shudder. Every time.
And why, well, first of all, I'm pretty rational, I'm a retired teacher. Why does it scare me?
Well, I think a lot of it becomes the unknown, and it's the, we see movies and we see TV and we read the Ray Bradbury stories and all of that stuff, that the machines are going to be taking over,
old, right,
and then the pictures of the Google car that's self-driving and everything, because our default is fear. We immediately go, we become afraid of what we don't know. And so Michael's been spearheading and leading a lot of stuff within the idea of researching AI as our tech integration specialist.
It's doing amazing things in education, right?
So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have him come in and kind of talk about how we're exploring AI in the classroom and some of those tools. We're gonna try to bring the fear down. And again, like I'd said before, it'll be okay. She will survive. This is not an AI creation of her. This is truly her. And so just to kind of dive into it a little bit and see how we're using it.
So help me out, Michael. Help me understand how it sounds like it's an effective tool.
By no means am I an expert in AI. I just want to establish
But
that.
you know more than
I'm
I
on the
do.
ride just like everybody else. This is year 32 for me in education.
Yes.
But as I think back about those 32 years in working in education, there have been some things that have happened along the way, and I'm sure they were there for you too when you were in education, that revolutionized the way that we work both with the students as well as with as the professional in the room themselves. AI is one of those things. Put it on the same level with a calculator. Put it on the same level with a computer.
PowerPoint.
Put it on anything from the word
that was
processor.
new.
I mean, when I was in school, TRS 80, we were laughing about Oregon Trail and playing Oregon Trail, which, by the way, they now do in three-dimensional units that they're putting on their craziness, right? But think about it from this way. When you first encountered that computer as an educator and you saw that thing on the table, or the internet for that matter, the world changed for you as an educator. It also changed for those students, right? So this is no different. It just seems like it carries with it some sort of perception that this may replace me, the Terminator moment or whatever it might be, right?
Exactly.
And it really isn't about that. What it really comes down to is how are we going to use tools to engage our educators in working smarter, not harder. And it really does some amazing things that as an educator, former teacher, and as a principal, I've always heard teachers come forward and say, I just don't have the time. I don't have the capacity to go out and to do some of these things that we know are best practice for kids, because with 25 kids in a room and X number of needs with the pressure on them for personalization or differentiation, there just wasn't time in the day.
Sure.
And these were good, hardworking people. They're going home at night correcting papers. And English teachers, where you're trying to work out and try to bring all those things to task, right? AI opens up the door to efficiencies and opportunities for creativity that we've never had in the educational profession, and it does it in a faster, cheaper way, and it's eye-opening. So when we use these tools, what we're forgetting about is we have to sit down and slow down, and we have to ask ourselves, and I mean this with specificity, why are we using this tool? What are we putting into place for? When we work with kids, if we don't know the why behind why we want to use this tool, you wouldn't use your calculator in every single aspect of doing mathematics. As a math teacher, you wouldn't do that, right? You would find opportunities to engage it so that you could get deeper on some of those concepts without having to worry about the calculations component, because that's not what you were trying to teach. You already knew they knew how to do the calculation. It was about how can I use the concept and apply it. And that's what AI opens up a door to.
Gotcha. So if I'm a kindergarten teacher and I'm taking my children on a leaf hunt and I want a pretty little graphic for them, to say, look for the following leaves, instead of pulling out the book and getting my stock art and cutting and pasting, copying, putting it on, I can ask
AI to do
AI
that for
to
you.
do that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And if you don't like the first result, you change how the prompt is, and you get to, with your words, do the editing.
Wow.
And so the tools out there are just incredible.
But again, think about it from the contents of the knowledge of a kindergarten teacher, because that's a great example, right?
Sure.
First thing we have to ask ourselves after we ask why are we using the tool is this developmentally appropriate for those kids to be using the tool in the first place? right?
That's
so
the safeguard.
maybe it's not about the
Yeah.
kids using the tool, maybe it's about the educator. So you remember those days when you were sitting there in front of the kids and you were trying to work with word choice with kids, and so you wanted colorful vocabulary, right?
Right.
In a moment, I mean, I'm getting chills thinking about
Oh,
this.
I know,
Literally,
I
yeah,
am too,
goosebumps.
really, yeah,
On
I
your
know.
board in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. And your board in front of you, you're literally saying, okay, Johnny, tell me about the leaf that you just saw. Well, what color is it? Okay, it's orange. Okay. Okay, you write the word on the whiteboard, orange, right?
Right.
And then you turn around and you say, okay, how big is the leaf? What type is the leaf? And you build those vocabulary words for the kids, and you get a list together, right? Now you take that same list, and in the magic of the moment, you turn to your AI and you say it, because you don't even have to type it anymore. You say, I would like a picture of a red leaf that's a maple leaf, and I want it to be falling out of the maple tree onto a dark ground or whatever it is. And in literally 3 seconds, an image is literally created in front of you of exactly what you just described for the kids. And think of the magic of that moment where now you can refine that image back and forth with the kids.
With words they gave
with
you,
words they provided.
vocabulary they have
Yes.
just learned, and what they're creating.
Yeah.
That really de-escalates fears, doesn't
Right,
it?
it sure does. It supports the learning process. It doesn't replace the learning process.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the danger is there.
Okay.
If we turn the key over and we just give them a tool and say, go out and use this tool,
Right.
the equivalent is asking somebody to use a screwdriver to hammer a nail. You might be able to get something done. It's not going to look pretty in the end for
Gotcha.
for anything.
Okay, here's the other problem we have. Again, we could talk about this all day.
Yes.
A couple minutes left. And as your message as assistant superintendent, whether it's AI or other learning tools or some of the decisions you have to make as admin, what do you see is the most important aspect of your job?
Clearing the field. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I can do with John's support is to make the job easier for our teachers, not harder. We live in an era of compounding responsibilities. The federal government puts responsibilities on public schools. The state puts responsibilities on the public schools. Yes. Even ourselves, we put quality and other types of controls on our schools. Our community puts it, our board, everybody's putting pressures onto teachers to try to do things in a way that they believe are the right way to do things, or that's the most accountable methodology to get to that end. Our job is to sort that out, clear out some of that minutia that's not really important, and allow teachers the flexibility in the room to be able to do the art of teaching with kids, to move them from where they stand today to where they need to be tomorrow and desire to be as a student learner.
I think we need to get this on the road. These words are so wonderful, and we're so grateful, Michael, for what you've done in the past, for what you'll do in the future, and what you're doing right now with our new superintendent.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And we're going to bring you back, because I think you have a way of clarifying things. That's wonderful.
Well, and there's so many more stories of things that
Yes.
are going on, and the beauty, Michael's been at the forefront of a lot of these great initiatives. Our Portrait of an Educator, Portrait of a Learner, Portrait of an Athlete, as we develop
Will you
more
come back and
things.
talk about that, because our time is wrapping up? I'd like to
Absolutely.
hear about a portrait,
Sure.
of an educator, portrait of an athlete. So maybe, next segment, can we
100%.
bring Michael back in?
Absolutely.
Because I think that's going to be
Happy to
really
do it.
significant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, and thank you for making this a wonderful district.
It was already a wonderful district. It's just polishing the diamond.
There we go. Well, coming up, you know what we're going to do? We're going to ask the superintendent.
Great.
Ha ha.
Thanks.
It'll be fine.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you coming up in just a minute, and we're just going to introduce the segment. You won't be on the hot seat today, but that's
Oh,
coming
no
up.
questions today. Okay, that's good. Then
Stay
I'm
with
looking
us.
forward to the next segment.
And don't forget, this is the
Cougar Chronicle.
See you in a bit. Welcome back to the Cougar Chronicle. And so I'm sitting here with my co-host, John Portney. Can you
gosh.
believe it?
There are things on my title, on my resume, that I never thought would ever go on, and co-host,
Co-host is one of
for
them,
sure.
yeah.
But it's a bucket list item, so check.
Are you? Yeah, I'm thinking, is he Regis or Kathy Lee? We don't know.
Anything's possible.
So what are you doing the first Thursday of every month?
I'm tuning into the Cougar Chronicle because that's when the new episode comes out.
Absolutely. Seriously, the
Yeah.
first Thursday, you and I are going to be in our sleep.
Yes.
Think of that, right?
First Thursday, my wife would be like, "You talk in your sleep."
Exactly.
But the first Thursday of the month, apparently something important is happening.
Absolutely.
No.
And that's the opportunity for you to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And that's the whole reason for this show, to lift the veil, have transparency on the
100%.
district.
And it really is, again, it's transparency, it's highlighting, it's showcasing, it's play, it's fun, it reminding folks that school is an enjoyable place to be.
It is.
And where else to attend school but here in Kearsarge? Why would you not want to come and have your kids here?
Absolutely. And you said something early that made me smile, and it was true. You take your job very seriously. You don't take yourself
At all.
seriously, right?
At
And
all,
that's a good
no.
thing. Because I think what we're seeing is, we're seeing, a real honesty shining through. And I'm grateful for that. So please know you can ask questions of the superintendent. Please be a part of that, because we can't wait to have the students involved.
Oh my gosh.
And right now they're composing songs and music.
We've got our high school graphic arts department is working on the graphics for the show, and they are either, I haven't quite figured out if we're rewriting or writing
Right.
an alma mater fight song, but our band will be doing that, and we're going to record all that stuff. So again, we're looking to highlight art and music and just smiles from kids.
Absolutely.
And messaging, and when you on that first Thursday of the month, when you tune in, you know that you're going to be, it's wall to wall.
It's true.
Great things happening with smiles
Kearsarge.
and adults and information. I mean, it's just, it potentially could be a variety show, if you
Yeah,
will.
exactly. A variety show, the focus on our students. So
Yes.
we're so excited.
Yeah.
Well, Superintendent Fortney, I guess I'm calling you John now.
From here on out.
Yes, exactly. Welcome. We're going to welcome you as well to our show every first Thursday of
the
the
month.
month. Exactly. Right here, we'll say it together on
The Cougar Chronicle.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, I'm Jim Culhane. I'm the CEO of Lake Sunapee Visiting Nurse Association. We're coming up on some very important dates for Medicare enrollees. Specifically, it's the Medicare open enrollment period, which begins on October 15th and runs through December 7th. A lot of people stick with traditional Medicare. It's what you've been paying into for a considerable period of time. It's robust, it travels with you, you can choose your own doctors, but we realize that there are Medicare Advantage products, may offer some unique perks as well. You can talk to an insurance broker. You may also contact your local ServiceLink office because they have a program to help you navigate the variety of products and find a match that might be best for you. It's important for you to be aware that there are some Medicare Advantage products that may not cover services that are important to you. Services such as home health, which is a crucial part of the continuum of care necessary to help people stay home. Do your research, talk to the people who know and may have some answers and provide guidance. Reach out to ServiceLink as they have a program that can assist. But in the end, make sure you choose an insurance that provides the range of services you may feel you need in the future. The last thing you would like to do is to find out that you need a service that is either not paid for or not covered and find yourself with an unexpected bill after services are provided.
We all know ticks suck blood, but not just in the woods. Ticks can be almost anywhere year-round. Even though some are smaller than the head of a pin, they're big trouble. Even a tiny tick can make you super sick. So wear protective clothing and an EPA-registered insect repellent. And when you shower, remember, check for ticks everywhere. If you get a tick, tell an adult and go to ticksuck.org to learn how to remove it properly. Ticks suck, but being outdoors shouldn't. Ticksuck.org